Johnny C Depp II versus Amber Laura Heard in the Circuit Court of Fairfax County. This is the case that kept audiences all across the world enthralled for the past few weeks, and it came to a close last week. The interest in this case has been unparalleled, and the trial also caused a social media hysteria and was televised. What followed was an overwhelming support for Depp and public mocking of Heard. Now, the jury found Depp was defamed by Heard when she described herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse in an op-ed, but also that Heard had been defamed by one of Depp's lawyers. So while it found that both Heard and Depp had defamed each other, it awarded more money to Depp. But this outcome was very different from another defamation case that Depp brought and lost against a British tabloid called The Sun for having called him a wife beater in one of its articles in 2020, which is less than 2 years ago. In this video, I will explain what makes the two trials in the two cases different and also what makes their outcomes different. Now, here's how it all began. 46-year-old Depp met 23-year-old Heard while shooting for the film The Rum Diary in 2009. There were reports of a whirlwind romance at that time, as there often are, and the couple got married in January 2015. But the marriage lasted only 15 months. Heard filed for divorce on 23rd May 2016, and the divorce proceedings turned into a massive media spectacle after Heard entered the California State Court on 27th May 2016 with bruises on her face. She wanted a restraining order against Depp and an order requiring Depp to attend 52 weeks of anger management courses. She also told the court that she was scared Depp would return to terrorize her physically and emotionally, and that there had been previous domestic violence incidents, including, and I quote, a severe one in December 2015 when she feared her life was in danger. Now, she got a temporary restraining order against Depp at that time. This temporary order was issued while Depp was not present or not represented at the hearing as well, but dates were fixed for Depp to be able to present his side. However, that hearing never took place because before that, the couple reached an agreement on 16th August 2016. One of the terms of this marital settlement agreement was that the restraining order proceedings would be dismissed with prejudice. Now, what does this mean? It basically means that the case is settled once and for all between the parties and couldn't be brought back to court. Now, since Depp and Heard did not have a pre or post-nuptial agreement for division of their finances in case of a divorce as well, Depp paid Heard $7 million, which she pledged to charity as a part of their divorce settlement. After this is when the legal trouble began. There were two defamation cases that Depp filed. First one was against this tabloid called The Sun in 2018. They had published an article titled, and I quote, "Gone potty, how can J.K. Rowling be genuinely happy casting wife-beater Johnny Depp in the new Fantastic Beasts film," unquote. They changed this headline a day later, but Depp sued them anyway in June 2018 for calling him a wife-beater. But Depp lost this case. The judgment came in November 2020, and Justice Andrew Nicol said, and I quote, he found that the great majority of alleged assaults of Miss Heard by Mr. Depp have been proved to the civil standard. He also accepted Heard's evidence that the allegations she made against Depp, and I quote, have had a negative effect on her career as an actor and activist. And the judge also accepted that such instances of assault put Heard in fear of her life. In his judgment, the judge even accepted that certain instances were, and I quote again, symptomatic of Mr. Depp's manner when the monster side of his personality was dominant, unquote. This was the first case. In the meantime, Heard wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post in 2018, which was titled, "I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change." She didn't name Depp in this piece, but wrote that she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. Depp sued her for this article for $50 million. In response to Depp's lawsuit, Heard countersued, filed a counter case for $100 million. And this was a jury trial that happened that became a media spectacle, as we know. Last week, the 7-member jury ruled in Depp's favor on 3 counts. Depp had taken objection to the headline of the op-ed, another line in which Heard referred to herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse, and the line said that Heard had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. The jurors basically had to answer a series of questions in yes or no. You can see those sheets on your screen right now. One of these questions was whether they felt that Depp had proved that Heard actually acted with actual malice. Now, actual malice is a threshold required to prove defamation in the US, especially when it involves a public figure. It basically requires a person to prove that defamatory statements were made with knowledge that they were false or with reckless disregard of the truth. The jury answered yes to all these questions. It, however, found that Depp, through his lawyer Adam Waldman, defamed Heard in one of the 3 statements that called her accusations a hoax. Now, the jury awarded Depp damages of a total of $15 million, $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages. However, these punitive damages were already automatically reduced because there's a legal limit for this in according to Virginia law. So, his actual damages came to $10.35 million. However, the jury also found, like I said, that Depp's lawyer had defamed Heard, so it awarded her $2 million in compensatory damages. Now, let us understand why Depp lost the case in the UK but not in the US, and this is surprising also because of the fact that the defamation law there in the UK is generally believed to be plaintiff friendly. In fact, there have been allegations of libel tourism also, which is a trend where people bring a libel or defamation claim in a country where they're most likely to win. Additionally, the UK doesn't have the same levels of free speech protections as in the US. And the major difference between the laws in the 2 countries is that in the US, the burden of proof lies on the person filing the defamation claim, but in the UK, it lies with the defendant, making it harder. So, if a claim is brought against you, you are supposed to prove your point. In Depp's case, for example, in the UK, the burden of proof was with the son. But in the US, it was Depp who had to persuade the jury that Heard not only defamed him but did so with malice. In other words, in the UK, plaintiffs have to show that a false and defamatory statement was made, but in the US, they also have to prove an added element of actual malice. But what really turned the tide in Depp's favor in the US was the jury as opposed to a single judge in the UK who heard the case. Experts have highlighted how Depp used a strategy called deny, attack and reverse victim and offender, or DARVO, which is a common defense tactic in several sexual assault and domestic violence trials. In this case, according to experts, Depp's lawyers employed the tactic effectively, turning him into the victim and Heard the abuser. The same strategy was employed in social media as well. The hashtag Justice for Johnny Depp received 19 billion views on TikTok and trended for weeks on Twitter. It resulted in drawing public attention to the trial, which was unparalleled. Polls reportedly showed that Americans showed more interest in the courtroom drama than the ongoing war in Ukraine or the historic ruling on abortion expected any day from the US Supreme Court now. And most importantly, although jurors, members of the jury here, were instructed not to read about the case online, they were not sequestered, meaning they weren't isolated and were allowed to keep their phones. So, it's widely believed that Depp's win is being attributed to these factors as well. That's all I have for you for now. This is Apoorva Mandhani for ThePrint. For more such videos, do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.